So UQ really was my pathway into medicine. We were the first year of the graduate entry program, which was revolutionary when it started back in 1997. We were the first cohort to come into it. So there was a massive number of students who really thought that their pathway into medicine may have been extinguished, and that when this program was launched and gave more than 200 students the opportunity to actually take their career, we grabbed it and ran with it. So we're always grateful for having had that opportunity to come into medicine at UQ. No, so I was raised in Melbourne. I went to school I was raised in the suburbs of Melbourne, went to school there. My first degree actually was in Wagga Wagga in southern New South Wales. And I was the first of my family to actually attend university at all, let alone medicine. So no, we don't have any other family members who went through UQ before. Medical school was busy. Because we had the 4-year program, everything was so condensed in for us. And there was a lot of times where the clinical schools or the tutors or the lecturers were trying to work out just as much as we were where we were meant to be with our program, with our development. So the first cohort of the graduate program really meant a lot of trial and error for a lot of us, and that was certainly exciting to go through. But particularly in our rural area, the friendships that we made through the Student Health Club, through Tropic back then, but also through UQMS, which is still going strong, were what I really treasure after all these years. So when we were going through our clinical years in the 3rd and 4th years, I tried to make sure that I got a good variety of exposures. I knew that I was planning on going rural. I'd known that pretty much from the time that I enrolled into the course. So I tried to make sure that my times in Brisbane were spent actually getting exposure into the really specialised areas, the complicated areas that you can't provide care for in rural and regional Queensland. But I also made sure that I got some time out in the regional hospitals, and particularly at Toowoomba Hospital, where I then went and did my intern year after graduation. Certainly the personal relationships that I made were very definitely with our Tropic members, with our Rural Health Student Club members, and even the group of RDAQ presidents that have come out of that cohort really shows how strongly we've all kept in contact with after all these years. But the relationship that still endures after all this time is every time I see or drive past the main medical school in Hurston, it's still a very sentimental attachment to that place, and it was great to see that the heritage of it is still being celebrated after all these years. The area that I'm most pleased about after what's now been nearly 20 years since I enrolled at UQ has been being able to nurture the next generation of students coming through. We've done a lot of teaching and training of students, registrars, even for GP supervisors through my career. And to be able to feel as I'm actually making a significant contribution to strengthening the future of rural health in Queensland is definitely the achievement that I'm most proud of. I'd always imagined when I was planning on, or was dreaming of a career in medicine, that it may have taken me overseas. I'd certainly looked at the conditions in the third world countries, seen the excellent work that organisations like Red Cross and Medicine Sans Frontieres were doing, and I thought that would be a really noble cause to pursue. But then when I actually started to understand the health inequalities that already occur in Australia, in our rural areas and particularly in our Indigenous communities, I realised that we still have a very strong need here in Australia for increasing the presence of rural health in our areas. And that was well and truly what drove me on to not only a career in medicine, but a career in rural general practice. I would certainly encourage all students who are either already in medicine or are considering a degree in medicine to please give it their greatest effort. It is one of the greatest careers you could hope for. There are so many opportunities available to you when you have a medical degree, and the difference that you really can make to the lives of your patients, your communities and to the nation are just absolutely fantastic. I would definitely encourage our students to get out and explore the wider areas. Avoid the temptation to stay in the comfort zone of the major metropolitan teaching hospitals. Get out into the rural towns, into the smaller hospitals, the outreach visits, and really connect with communities, because that's where they'll really find that they can actually make a positive impact and really be able to deliver something to those areas.